Hey everybody, it's Montblanc, and today I'm incredibly excited because this modest little passion project has passed 1,000 subscribers. Admittedly, I always hoped that we'd get here, but when I settled on the specifics of how I wanted to pursue this channel, I knew that gaining momentum would be an uphill battle. Despite that, the way that I've chosen to do things here really feels unique and authentic to me, so I'm incredibly grateful that it's resonated with quite a lot of you too. In celebration, I've got a really fun video for you today, but first, I want to take a moment to announce something that I've been working on for quite some time behind the scenes. Why am I nervous? All right, as of today, July 29th of 2026, I'm officially launching a Patreon. I thought that I'd take a moment to maybe discuss a little bit of my thoughts behind the Patreon community and how it's set up, but of course, I'll leave a link to my new Patreon page in the video description so that you can check it out at your own leisure. First, why a Patreon? It was kind of always in the dreams category for this project, since I knew it would be a really great way to keep an intimate community while the channel itself was growing. But what kind of made me pull the trigger now, as opposed to waiting a little bit longer, was definitely the Baby Monster Begin Again open mic video being blocked. At this point, I've got like a little stack of blocked videos that are building up, and I thought this would be a great way to sort of to provide access to those while also increasing the breadth and like scope of stuff that I'm able to offer to my community. There's definitely like a limitation on my posting schedule, and I've been watching a lot of really interesting things pass me by just because I couldn't necessarily fit them in to the posting on my main channel here. So what does it look like currently? Right now I have two tiers, the first of which is $1 a month, and it includes access to all of my blocked videos, in addition to access to my Patreon journals, which are kind of a sneak peek behind the scenes to allow me to flesh out my thoughts and ideas about the creative process with all of this, and hopefully get feedback from people who are interested in that. So the second tier is $3 a month, and it's a really large jump up in terms of the type of content and variety that you're going to get, and also quantity. I've got extended reactions, Patreon exclusive reactions, in addition to monthly favorites and retrospectives at tier 2, and I think that that one is a really good value because it definitely shows a different side of me that's not available on this channel, that's quite a lot more intimate. And as far as like why I'm able to actually push all of this extra content to Patreon is that perhaps you don't know, but when posting on YouTube, there's a lot that goes into creating videos that is not necessarily the video creation itself. For example, thumbnails, each of which I iterate usually about 3 to 5 times, and titles, which will go through a similar number of iterations in order to find something that's like really interesting and clickable for people. Editing the video, of course, and in case you didn't know, I actually write all of the subtitles for my videos on this channel, and I think that it's really important for accessibility and allowing people, especially who are not first language native English speakers, there we go. And then I also write video descriptions here and intros, which is actually one of my favorite pieces of the video creation periphery, I guess, but it does take quite a bit of time, and working that out for every single video, in addition to all of these other things, really starts to stack up the amount of time that it takes to put a video on my main channel here. So if you strip back all of that, what's left? From my perspective, it's a much more laid back and unedited and unfiltered version of myself that kind of just feels like hanging out with a friend. I do expand upon this a little bit in my first Patreon journal, which is available for free on my Patreon page if you wanted to check it out. But there's a piece of me that's only available to close friends and family. I'm quite a shy and reserved person naturally, but there's a sort of like silliness and fun and laid back and heartwarming, heartfelt piece of myself that I was able to tap into for these Patreon videos, which is quite a delightful experience. I think it kind of feels like hanging out with your friend and like chatting about K-pop or getting really excited over the latest release and watching things together. I definitely have big plans and a lot of really amazing ideas for the future of the Patreon, and I'm excited to grow things over time, but part of the reason for starting now as opposed to waiting is so that I can slowly build a really amazing library of content so that the membership provides more and more value as time goes on. Regardless of whether or not you decide to join us over on Patreon, I'm incredibly grateful for all of your support and all the support that I've been shown since starting this project. I'm very excited to see what the future holds for all of this. But with that exciting announcement out of the way, let's jump into our 1,000 subscriber celebration. All right, what I have for you today I think is pretty cool, but only if you're a fan of the channel. Let's go down memory lane a little bit, and I thought it would be really fun to sort of look at some firsts, maybe check out some superlatives from the channel's history, and see how things have really developed over time. And to that effect, the first video that I have for you is actually the very first video on the channel. I missed 12 years of K-pop, starting my BTS journey with Swim. So, if I'm being honest, I did not feel ready for this video at all. I was incredibly nervous while filming it, and that ended up being the most frustrating and horrible thing when I had to go back and edit it, and every other sentence was, I. At this point, I had not spoken in public in quite a long time, though I did for a while, and so I understand ways to sort of get around seeming unconfident, but it just didn't click for me in that first video, and I couldn't really push it. I didn't feel ready, but I couldn't push it because the BTS comeback was definitely going to be the largest comeback of the year, so there was this piece of me that knew I kind of had to catch that moment, and I'm so glad that I did. But in this video, you'll definitely see a much more reserved and like shy and nervous version of me. And a large part of that was I just didn't trust that I had anything interesting to say. At this point, I had already filmed like 10 reactions prior to launching the channel, just to sort of like get practice with the format. And oh man, thinking back to those, they're so cringy. Swim was a really great way to start all of this though, because yeah, what would I have done if I had like started with something that was really like embarrassing or cringe or like something that I really didn't like? The cinematography just like begs to be talked about, and BTS in general is always such a compelling journey, a compelling like they always present something that's a little bit cerebral, and there's a lot of different ways to approach consuming the media itself, and the song is so pretty. So I have to say I'm very glad that it was my first video, but I was not happy after filming it. But actually that was good practice, because you just have to keep moving on. I have sort of taken the approach with this that like I'm not perfect in any way, but I'm trying to get better as time goes on. And so with each time that I record a video, each time that I go into editing, I try and improve or like find something that I can work on as I'm moving forward. And I think that this video is definitely a testament to my ability to at least put together 2 sentences without an these days. Next for you, I have the first hit on my channel, which was Did I Sleep Through a Cult? A Guide to BTS Members, the Pangdan 7 reaction. Yeah, I guess what stood out to me the most about this one was definitely how unexpected it was. It was the 6th video that I ever posted on the channel, and I felt like I did pretty well with that initial Swim video, but of course there was so much momentum behind that one, and things flatlined after that, as I expected them to. I certainly did plenty of research before even starting this channel in terms of like how the algorithm works and how it typically how things typically go for channels on the back end. And this one was like it's pretty exciting to see the numbers go up really high, but I think that the most surprising and shocking thing about it was definitely how much it taught me about ARMY, and arguably, like, you know, this video has so much information about BTS, but I definitely learned about more about ARMY itself than I did about BTS with this one, just because of it, how the fans were interacting with me in the comments of this video. And now, you know, like so many videos into my BTS journey, it's really interesting to sort of look back at this and yeah, and to sort of see things with a fresh eye again, because I learned so much in this video, and I knew that none of it was going to stick, but like over time, I guess like the core and like fundamental piece of it was like discovering the hardships that they faced in their career, which incidentally, in my opinion, and arguably, is one of the most compelling pieces of their narrative. It's like they're definitely an underdog story, and then they, you know, reach heights unseen before any other group has never been able to do what they've been able to do in the industry. And to see the humble beginnings that they come from and the way in which they prioritize their connections with one another over anything else is just like so incredibly rewarding. I definitely thought I was going to have to grind a lot longer before I got something to stick, and I wouldn't say that like I'm perfect at it now, but I have a little bit of a sense of when things are going to hit now. It's not always the case, and arguably, like, I make a lot more decisions based off of like personal interest than I do about numbers. But this was definitely like the first preview and like the first rush of excitement that I got from, yeah, just having something like really resonate with the fandoms and really expanding the reach of my channel and like the content that I have. It made me feel very confident about all of the sort of side things that I do in order to try and help the algorithm find the appropriate audience for my videos. And that's definitely an incredibly important piece of this whole YouTube process. What I want to share with you next is actually the best thumbnail. This is the first superlative that I wanted to create, and yeah, that is definitely for the video I hated SM for 15 years. Did Hearts to Hearts change my mind? Which was actually my rude reaction. When I pulled the still itself, I just found it so charming and cute, and it was definitely one of my favorite parts of the entire music video. So I had actually previously thought of this title, and I knew that it was going to be useful for an SM artist, but I didn't know which video, which group it would end up being. And I have to say, like, I'm so glad that I used it for this one, because not only is the title pretty clickable, if I do say so myself, but that thumbnail, I got so many compliments on it and like people laughing about it in the comments below the video, and it definitely helped a lot of people find my channel and blew up the video a lot more than I think that it would have otherwise. And I can kind of make that leap now just based off of like how the other Hearts to Hearts videos have done. But this one was definitely like, it was such a fun one to create too. I had a different like idea behind creating thumbnails back at this part of my channel, and I kind of wanted to approach it like making a meme. I still think that those are like the most fun ones to sort of stumble across, but they don't work quite as well for my channel as some of the styles that I do nowadays, but a lot has changed from that point to this point. And I guess I'm glad to have had at least some of the silly ones really resonate with people. Up next, we've got biggest shock reception, which goes to I grew up on 21. Can BABYMONSTER Psycho fill the void? I kind of knew that the title would be an eye catcher, but honestly, the biggest thing that was like a massive shock for this one was I had no idea what I was getting into when it came to the Baemon fan base. Monsties are like no other fan base, and they're definitely in my like top of the top when it comes to favorite fan bases to interact with. The amount of like energy and enthusiasm that they have is just so infectious, and it like really makes you want to see more from the artists. And arguably I've pursued Baemon probably like next to BTS the most on this channel, and a large part of that just comes from like how infectious and enthusiastic the fan base has been. I guess going into this one, I really didn't know what to expect, especially since like up until that point, Blackpink had kind of been my like entry point into the quote-unquote new YG era, and it was so incredibly unique and interesting and like different than anything else that I was seeing in the market. So I was really interested to see the sort of like YG-ism that exists within it, but like Baemon, they just have completely their own style, their own sound, and it's like so rewarding as a fan to be able to participate in. And this, I would still argue, this is probably like their most quintessential like BABYMONSTER song. This just like fits their vibe and their energy so perfectly. And you know, arguably there's plenty of other things that do as well, but this one, to me, when I think of Baemon, I think of Psycho first. Up next for you, we have most underrated, and this one I'm giving it to I Wasn't Prepared for IVE, XOXZ and HEYA VTuber reaction. Yeah, this one is definitely my most underrated video. I personally think that it's one of the most amazing reactions that I've ever had on this channel. The way that my brain just was completely... Ooh, look at that inception. The way that my brain was just completely like liquefied and like scooped out of my brain with this one was... I will never forget that feeling. I will never forget that feeling. And, you know, this one kind of cemented the streak of me considering that IVE is probably like underrated in general, because those IVE videos do not perform. Although I will say that Dive is kind of proving me wrong with the Killing Voice reaction, because there was quite a lot of great turnout for that one. And also it finally, like at that point, it feels like really good to be able to finally connect with the fan base a little bit, since the other reactions that I didn't really I don't know, the algorithm didn't really hand them out in the same way, and there are reasons for that for sure. For example, Black Hole had like an amazing thumbnail. I highly recommend you check that one out if you haven't seen it already. But I can tell that the thumbnail was amazing because basically what happened is like the initial stats from that video like had so many different impressions, and the click-through rate was like probably one of the best I've ever had, definitely at that point in my video creating career. But what would happen is people would click on the video and then the viewership just like freaking tanked like a rock, and because of that the algorithm like really hates it now and it will not recommend that video. But I thought it was a really good one. It definitely taught me a lot about thumbnails and viewer expectations. I kind of tried putting my VTuber model in the thumbnails itself because it seemed a little more like VTuber-y than I would have liked, which is not to say that like I have any judgments about that, but like I definitely have tried to go my own direction when it comes to this video and not necessarily follow the classic model like any other VTuber would. So I did put off doing that for quite a while, but it has helped quite a lot in terms of aligning expectations of like what people think that they're going to get when they open a video. So I have to say like it was the right decision eventually. Yeah, and then like Bang Bang actually has a really great thumbnail as well, and I I will stand on business here. Like, Bang Bang is actually one of the best reactions on this channel. And at the time that it was posted, it was definitely like the best reaction. That was probably the first time that I had my like viewpoint shift and like the excitement really like return. I felt like, oh yes, here I am, a stan. Because I haven't felt that way in like so long. But yep, that one also like just didn't really hit, and neither did this one. But just like look how beautiful those visuals are, and half the video is just me going I literally like cannot compute. Here I have another first for you, and that is the first comeback versus debut. I've never heard ITZY. Checking out their comeback versus debut motto and DALLA MV reaction. Yeah, I thought this one would be an interesting category to talk about because I wanted to talk a little bit about the reason why I started the format. And that is that there was, from my perspective, something missing from my Choom and Heavy Serenade videos. When artists make comebacks, there's not performance videos immediately, and so there's this piece of it that's like, okay, let's check out the song and let's check out the music video. But to me, it felt like there was something missing in that. And I took a cue from a YouTuber, Dylan is in Trouble. He has this series on his channel, which is where he like checks out the very first episode of a series and the very last episode of a series and like tries to extrapolate and fill in. I don't necessarily find for myself personally, if I'm taking this model with K-pop groups, the like trying to fill in piece, I'd rather be surprised than like try and make predictions about it. So I ended up with the sort of structure that I did, but I'm very happy to have it. Oh, and also, here's a little bit of fun, like Dylan is in Trouble lore for you. He actually started on YouTube with a K-pop reaction channel. So he definitely is a big inspiration for me in terms of like what I envision for this channel. And a large part of that was like his perspective as an outsider, and so I thought like, well, how is my perspective unique? And there's definitely the second gen vet piece of it. I have so much industry knowledge and I know a lot of the history of K-pop, even if I am missing pieces of it. So yeah, the whole like, I've seen so many groups debut, and I've seen so many comebacks, and so pairing that perspective together, I thought made for a really interesting and compelling video. Oh, this is a beautiful, the background on this video is so cool. Up next, I've got another superlative for you, and this one is my biggest success. I've never heard ATEEZ. Checking out their comeback versus debut. This is the Bad, Pirate King, and Treasure reaction. So yeah, this one, it was unexpected on my part. I didn't know what I was getting into with the ATEEZ fandom, and now I'm like so happy that they had the comeback when they did, because ATEEZ is like also one of the groups whose fandoms is like definitely among my favorite to interact with. Yeah, right now I would say ARMY is always one of, like, they're so knowledgeable and like passionate about BTS, and it's so cool to interact with them in the comments, although they are a little bit rigid when it comes to criticism, and there is a little bit of a blind spot that ARMY has when it comes to maybe like some of the downsides of fandom, but they're also like so incredibly impactful in the world, and they like are seeking to do good, which I think is like such a cool thing for a fandom to have. Like I said, BABYMON definitely has like Monsties they have the energy and the enthusiasm and excitement, which is like so infectious. And then ATEEZ is like, they're just so warm and like friendly and welcoming, and yeah, they've been like so wonderfully helpful in terms of like helping me figure out the way to move forward with the whole ATEEZ project. And this one has the most views of any video on my channel, and also the most people actually subscribed from this video as well. It was unexpected, but I am definitely so happy that it happened, because like I can't wait to check out more ATEEZ stuff. As a sort of like little preview, I do have my next ATEEZ reaction coming up in the near-ish future, but yeah, it's definitely very infectious, and I can always I can't wait to see more from them. All right, following that one, can you take a guess? It's my biggest flop, which goes to Yena is a delightful weirdo. This is my Nemo reaction video. And I'll be so for real, like I kind of knew that the Yena one wasn't going to hit in quite the same way. Catch Catch was like one of my favorite reactions, and the song itself just like, this is the first time that I like really got sucked back into like Gen 2 vibes. So I had high hopes for this one, but I also was like being realistic about it. I don't think that Yena has the fan base, the like sort of rabid fan base, especially outside of Korea, that really sustains interest in moving backwards in her discography. I'm certainly excited for her next comeback, because I think that it'll have a lot of momentum in it, and she's such a like interesting and fun artist. But yeah, people really could not give a flying F about this one, which is too bad. It's a really, really cute music video, and I thought the reaction went really, really well. As an honorable mention for biggest flop, I have to bring up aespaWeek. Yeah, that one was a little bit rough. I actually ended up losing subscribers midweek on that one, and I will say that I do have like a little bit of a healthy perspective on all of this, because, you know, numbers are really not the metric that I want to use to define the quote-unquote success of this project. So when things like flatlined and leveled out, I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to continue this project regardless, so it doesn't really matter if things are not going well. That just means like a week, quote unquote, down the toilet if the only metric was to have increased exposure. But then probably about halfway to 3/4 of the way through the week, I had this like really amazing feeling, which was each video had like maybe 300 views, 300 to 500, whatever. But like in that, because I knew that the algorithm didn't love it, I knew that aespa fans weren't coming, it like actually made me feel very supported, and like people actually just wanted to watch my videos because it's me and not necessarily the content itself. I will say that those videos are excellent, so if you haven't watched them, I definitely recommend them, even if you don't like aespa. It was so fascinating, and the commentary that they were able to infuse into their storyline was really, really amazing. And so the process of that week definitely changed my perspective overall as far as like what makes a quote-unquote successful video. And now I have a lot more appreciation and can also recognize on my channel when I'm getting slow growers, like ones that don't have that big initial push. And also I have taken the approach from the beginning of this channel of like trying to build ecosystems, if you will, which is why I typically recommend the playlists that I create, and also why I spend so much time creating these playlists. So that, you know, when someone finishes watching one video, there's like a larger overarching story that comes with getting to know these different groups and really coming to fall in love with them, which I think is a very compelling narrative, from my perspective anyway. Okay, so for my final category, I've got my favorite video. Can you guess which video it's going to be? I'll give you a minute. It's These 21 Minutes Made Me an NMIX Fan, which is my reaction to Iron Oxide acapella medley, High Horse and Happy. This one is my favorite for a lot of different reasons, not only because it was such an interesting and compelling set, but definitely the largest piece of it was that I took a leap of faith and tried a recommendation that was completely outside of my wheelhouse and what I had done up until this point with the channel. You know, there's something to be said about the model of my BTS journey, which is going backwards in time. But this was really the first time that I pushed past my ideas about why something would or wouldn't work. And, you know, if you were to take each of these individually, I don't know that the algorithm itself would know quite what to do with them. They might not have the reach that this video definitely eventually got. But something about the three of these together just really was lightning in a bottle, and it reached and resonated with NMIX fans in a way that nothing else really has. And so to that effect, I want to say thanks again to Old Dirty Bastard, because yeah, it was completely unexpected, and I have a completely different perception and respect for the community that I'm building here. And also it's allowed me to sort of take that leap of faith again, and you'll see in the coming videos that are in the pipeline for right now that there's quite a lot of your recommendations that have been baked into them, because I just, as this project has continued and as you all have been getting to know me better and better, look how speechless I am. This is really a great reaction. It was really cool. But as you all have gotten to know me better and better, and I think that you almost have this preternatural sense for what is going to make a really interesting and compelling reaction video. So it's just become easier and easier to see these, especially people are recommending duos to me, which I really appreciate. To see those in the comment section and immediately take the note down and start to bake it into what I'm planning for my reaction schedule moving forward, because it's not only the narrative of these two separate pieces of media, but then there's also how are they working together, and then you also have the idea that somebody would love them to be presented together is such a cool and interesting way to connect with people who are hopefully fans of the channel, but certainly fans of the groups themselves. And that, I think, makes for if I could recommend to my younger self to be exposed to, or to have a certain fresh experience with a group, I can't even think about what I would recommend, but I have so many ideas of what I would want to share as a fan of specific artists. And to think that you all are taking the time to help me in that way, I really appreciate it. And it's definitely changed a lot on this channel, and it all kind of started with this video, which is a really great reaction, and I think resonated with NMIX fans in a very special way, and opened up the door to the floodgates of answer, and it never really gone back from there. Okay, so I do have one final thing that I would like to present to you, which is something that specific fans of the channel will probably know. I did point this out in one pin comment of like a specific reaction video, but it is my favorite video playlist. I don't know if you've taken the chance or the time to look through my playlists that I have available, but this one was kind of like a little secret Easter egg in there that I'm now sharing with you all as well. These are videos that like really, what makes a favorite video for me is videos that like really change my perspective on music, on art, on what's possible through the medium of K-pop, or that maybe shifted my viewpoint of artists themselves and made me understand K-pop and like what's possible with it in a completely new and interesting and different way. And of course I do add videos in here as they sort of like strike my fancy, but it's just a sort of like underutilized resource in my opinion, and you'll be able to kind of see what I find makes a quote-unquote successful video, because it's definitely not the numbers on this channel. If I consider this little journey back into K-pop, it's like, yes, finding community and finding people to connect with over music, but also I am such a lover of art and of music, and so to have my perspective changed and to see things in a completely new way through this journey is such a beautiful and rewarding and enriching piece of my life. So yeah, I highly recommend you keep an eye on this one moving forward, and it'll be kind of just a secret between all of us here. And then it'll stay a secret until I blab again and just run my mouth about it. Okay, what do you think of our little journey down memory lane? Seems like we've come quite a long way in a relatively short amount of time. Granted, it is quite a lot of videos that I've been able to make for this channel, and I have been exposed to so many different new groups and so many different ideas about music. It's been an incredibly rewarding journey, and I am so incredibly grateful for you all to have been on this journey with me. And of course, I am eternally grateful for your support, whether that's in helping me understand new ways about how to approach groups that I'm trying to get to know about, or also even just hitting the like button and subscribing, or sticking with me on what, you know, arguably are some flop videos, but I still think are really cool. Yeah, I have to say that I find it so incredibly rewarding to interact with all of you in the comments section below all of these videos, and the more I see recurring names over and over again, the more it feels like a happy little family here, just exploring and playing with music and culture. And yeah, I'm very excited to see where this continues to go. But for now, 1,000 of you said that you'd like to join me on this journey, and I'm so incredibly grateful. So with that, that's it for me today, and hopefully I see you in the next video, but if not, I'll see you somewhere else. Bye!